Welcome everybody to another episode of Rewind the Times. Good morning, everybody. It's a little bit after. It's in November, I believe, number 10th, 9th, or the 10th. The 9th, I believe it is. Hope everybody had an awesome Halloween. I know I did. I love Halloween. Halloween is this is my favorite time of the year, so I'm really, really enjoying this time of the year. A little stressed out. Have a lot going on in my life. Probably the most that's ever going on in my life around this time. But I love the fall. I've said this a million times. It always starts off with my birthday in September, then you have Halloween in October, and then you have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, and I'm really in the spirit. I'm really in the spirit this year. I went out and bought a turkey suit. It's a costume that I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna have Thanksgiving at my house this year, and everyone is welcomed. I'm gonna make a big turkey or a couple of turkeys. I'm gonna cook as much food as possible, snacks and stuff, and excuse me. And I'm gonna have open door. Whoever wants to come over, watch some football. But I bought a turkey costume that I'm gonna wear while I cook and stuff like that, and have fun. I just want to enjoy the day. And then for Christmas, I bought an Elf on the Shelf costume. So I really want to enjoy the holidays this year. I have a chance to purchase this house about 7 or 8 months from now. So if I do, great. If I don't, then I might be living somewhere else, or I can live here until someone buys the house and maybe they want to rent it to me. So there's a lot of good options, a lot of changes happening. Nervous, because I like to always know the future. But as long as I stay on the course and as long as I stay, just focused and God has a plan and just stay with that. So, but I wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk about. Well, first I wish hope everybody had an awesome Halloween. I really enjoyed myself Halloween night. I had a really good time with Leanne and stuff. It was a blast. We took our son Caden out. It was just so much fun, man. A lot better than last year's Halloween. So I'll say that. But the reason I want to come on here today is I've been wanting to do this video for a very, very, very long time. And I love this show. I've talked about it a million times. I have plenty of action figures to prove that I love the show. And that is, I wanted to come on here and talk about my love for the classic Batman 1966 TV show. This show to me was so ahead of the time. As we're getting older in life, TV is becoming. There is no more cable. I mean, there is, but people really don't watch it. Everything's on apps and everything's at your hand. There is no more must see TV. And what I mean by that is, running to the TV, can't miss a show because you don't know if when it's gonna be played again. Like every episode you have to watch because you don't know when they're gonna play a rewind of an episode or anything like that. And nowadays, you miss an episode, you can catch it on an app, or you can record everything. It's just there is no more must see TV. Well, growing up, I would have loved to seen Batman '66, which debuted in January 12th, 1966. ABC at the time was looking to put TV shows on TV, and they did a few test pilots, and this show, it was just not getting the good ratings. They actually thought about putting a laugh track in because where the funny parts were supposed to be, the crowds were not laughing. Everything was against this show, but they needed to fill two spots. And if you know the way the Batman classic TV show goes, is it's an hour show, 2 half hours. So the first half hour show is kind of like Batman. At the end, he kind of gets caught by the villain, and then the second part, he gets out of the villain's trap and then captures the villain itself. And so they just needed something to put on TV, and they said, you know what, we're gonna swing for the fences, we'll put it on TV, and something magical happened. Something happened magical. I believe it was a Tuesday night. Like I said, January 12th. I believe they came on at 7:30. Well, the people went nuts for it. The people went absolutely nuts. The kids just went crazy for it. And I would have loved as a child to have seen that show debut. The people that I do talk to, a lot of them have seen the reruns, but a lot of them that I talked to seen it when they were a child. And that next day in school, the buzz was just at an ultimate high. And when you think about the cast and the characters of that show, how could that show not be as great as it is. I think it's single-handedly the greatest TV show of all time. That's my opinion, of course. But I mean, think about all the actors. You have Adam West playing Batman, Burt Ward playing Robin. You know, Jovan Craig, who end up added on in season 3, playing Batgirl. I mean, the real stars of the show, in my opinion, were the villains. The villains really carried that show, and they were played by just amazing actors and actresses. Catwoman played by Julie Newmar. There was 3 Catwomen, and all 3 of them were amazing actresses. Lee Merriweather played Catwoman in the movie. Between season 1 and season 2, they did a movie because the popularity was at an all-time high. And back then, you know, they weren't typecast characters. They worked for a living, so they did anything that came at them. They did any movie or any script that came at them. So it's not like they signed on and said, okay, you're going to be the only Catwoman. Julie Newmar. She didn't. And she didn't do the movie because she was doing something else. So Lee Merriweather came in, and she knocked out of the pot. The one thing I like about each Catwoman, this is gonna be a long show, so I gotta grab a drink. The one thing that I like about each Catwoman, and the third one being Eartha Kitt. Come on, Eartha Kitt, beautiful actress, a beautiful singer. Is each one of the actresses brought something different to that role. You know, Julie Newmar was she was very flirtatious, very, very, very sexy. Lee Mary, and each one of them had their own cat, their own cat meow, which I absolutely love. Julie Newmar, like I said, she was very sexy. Lee Merriweather brought the girl next door look to me, which is very sexy too. And then Eartha Kitt, the way she would purr, and she was very kind of like fierce, where the other 2 Catwomen were kind of playful. She wasn't. Her Catwoman was kind of fierce, and I love that. I love that Catwoman. The Penguin, Burgess Meredith. I mean, Burgess Meredith would go on to. Burgess Meredith at the time already had a great acting career, but he went on. He did Rocky, and Grumpy Old Man. I mean, it's Burgess Meredith. You know what I mean? I have been very fortunate to talk to his granddaughter. I'm sorry, Annie Mae. They call her Minnie Buzz. She looks just like she does. She looks just like her grandfather, Burgess Meredith, and he was just an incredible. The Penguin. I don't think anybody could have played that role any better than Burgess. Burgess was just amazing. Here's a little hint. A lot of people might have already known that when Burgess was wank, 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 and he was coughing, he was actually coughing on his smoke because he quit smoking until he became the Penguin again, and they asked him to smoke, and he did, and he took the wank, 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 wank. That was actually him coughing. It wasn't him, which I just thought was funny. Then you come on to the next actor, which is played by Cesar Romero, playing the Joker. Talk about a transformation. Cesar Romero was such a suave Latino lover. His roles were very, like I said, very suave, and he was known for the mustache. And if you notice on the show back then, you probably didn't notice. If you've seen it back in 1966 on the TV screens or anything with the green on the TV, they pretty much just took his mustache and they plastered it to his face. Because he wouldn't shave it. He refused to shave it. He thought that his mustache made his career. And maybe it did. Maybe it did. But a very good-looking man. But once he put that makeup on, that Harlequin laugh, that joyfulness that came out of him, he, to this day, in no disrespect to Jack Nicholson or Heath Ledger or anyone else that has played the role of the Joker, he is, in my opinion, the best Joker of all time. Cesar Romero, the way that switch, just amazing. Ledger was amazing too, but the way Cesar Romero did it, just incredible. And then you go on to the big star of the show. The big star of the 4 would be Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. I think it was up for an Academy. I think this guy was won an Academy Award for playing that role on a TV show. He was just the way he was so maniacal. And that laugh, and the way he'd stare at you with those dead cold eyes. That Riddler, Jim Carrey tried doing it in Batman Forever, and obviously you can't duplicate that, but just amazing. And then even the actors that came in after that, you have Victor Buono, who played King Tut. Victor Buono was in his 20s, and he looked like he was in his 40s. He was losing his hair. Victor Buono was this Shakespearean actor back in the 60s, and he made King Tut, which was just a stupid villain if you think about it. But it's my favorite villain on the show, and that's out of the big ones, out of the Riddler, the Joker. He took this really kind of like just regular role of, it's just a King Tut, ruler of the Nile, king of Egypt, and pretty much they gave him a dual personality where if he got hit in the head with a brick, he'd be his regular self, Roy McElroy or something McElroy, which he was a professor at Harvard or a professor at Yale, but when he got hit in the head, he would turn into King Tut, the ruler of the Nile, and I mean just the origin story of that is just so funny, and the way that Buono did it was just he was very like, he overacted it, and that was the whole point of it. That was the purpose of it, and he just killed it, just absolutely killed it. You got Milan Hecht as the guy who played Falseface. I'm gonna say his name wrong. It's Milan. I'm saying it wrong, but he was a very, very famous actor back in that day. He died not too long ago. There was three different Mr. Freezes. The most famous one being the bald one with a thing around his neck. But I mean, Mr. Freeze was played by three different characters, each one of them bringing their own thing to it. I mean, just the show itself. It would have been really cool because Clint Eastwood was rumored to play Two-Face, and they never did Two-Face. They did something called Falseface. They thought that the makeup of the Burns mark was too scary for the kids, so they kind of like toned it down. That's actually one of my favorite episodes. At season 1, I think episode 6, season 1, episode 6, episode 7, Falseface. Just a great episode. How Falseface talks backwards. So everything has a double meaning. So if he says, "Hey, it's a bad day today," it means it's a good day. The way he talks, meaning backward stuff, it's very, very interesting. He had Ma Parker, played by I can't think of her friggin' name. I hate when I'm on camera and I can't do this, but I mean there was just so many actors. Milton Berle played Louis the Lilac in season 3. Egghead, played by Vincent Price. I mean, just talk about just a stupid role. Egghead's a very smart people, and Vincent Price just knocked it out of the friggin' park. George Sanders was the first Mr. Freeze. And then Otto Preminger played the second Mr. Freeze. And that's the one that everyone talks about. And then Eli Wallach played the third Mr. Freeze. And each one of those brought something different. George Sanders was awesome. He's one of the helmet. And I believe someone has that helmet. Well, obviously someone has it, but someone, I seen on a collector's show, someone had it. And the helmet's very small. So I'm not sure. George Sanders must have been a very, very small dude. But Otto Preminger, they took the helmet off of him and put this thing around him where it would make him, where it would like freeze him. And then they kept the same suit for Eli Wallach, and Eli Wallach played him. Season 3, they added Jovan Craig, and there's just a bunch of weird villains. Dude, the show is just great. The dialogue, the way the show is written, because obviously it's very campy, but Lorenzo Semple, who wrote a lot of these shows, he just wrote these shows to be just so perfect, because you can feel the campiness in it, but it's smart campiness. It's not dumb campiness. And then the actors, they just took these words on pages and they made it come to life. I can sit and watch every episode. I must have seen every season, every episode, hundreds of times. I mean, it's something that I go to when I'm really down, and I'm having a bad day. I'll pop in a season and I'll watch it, because it's just incredible. It really is. I mean, whoever thought back in 1966 that in 2023 they're still making toys and people there are fan clubs, and it's so popular today, to this day. And I love meeting fans. I love meeting fans of the show itself that have the great love for it, like I do. I love talking to them because I love hearing their memories, and maybe like when did they first watch it, and if they're old enough, did they see it in the first run, or did they see it in reruns like I did? Because obviously I'm only 43. There's no way I wasn't born until 1980. So, but I would have loved if I could. There was a time machine. I would love to go back into time, and that would be the. I'm not even kidding. That would be the first thing. I've said that many times to Leanne, and even to my best friend Crystal. I would love to go back into time, and I would love to just be there that night just to see that opening night, because the show just had so much behind it. I mean, it's just the show just was like a light of a match. It was just something that they kind of just threw on TV. They didn't think it was gonna do so good, and to watch it just be a phenomenon. To this day, it's still a phenomenon. I mean, all the toys, like I said, everything that they're making in 2023, it's just going on to be. And then the collecting pot's been really, really awesome. I own nothing from the show, nothing original from the show, because the show came out so long ago. The stuff is just so expensive. I mean, imagine getting your hands on an original Adam West cowl, or a bat suit, or Robin's bat suit, or Julie Newmar's suit. I mean, I can only imagine how much money these things go for, or or the original Batmobile, or maybe a Batarang, or any of that stuff from the show. I mean, man, that's why I love watching some collector shows, and I'll like to see their Batman '66 shows, and my mouth just hits the floor because I'm just like, the money these people must have paid. That's where, man, some of the prices of these things, it's just so cool that they have some of these original things from the show. It's just amazing. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just, the show's just great. Even the second Riddler, the guy who played Gomez Adams from the Munsters, he was the Riddler for an episode. I mean, the show is just great, man. I absolutely love it, and it's something that I suggest to all you guys, if you want to just sit down. Yes, it's not like the dark and the dark Batmans we have nowadays. If you just want to sit back and enjoy yourself, have a good time, take a chance on it, I guarantee you're gonna like it. So, but I want to come on here and just give a shout out to my love for Batman '66. It is my favorite TV show of all time. I love it. I'll probably sometime in the future do another episode. I mean, even real quick, even the guy who plays Alfred, he is just awesome in that show. Every Batman needs an Alfred, and this Alfred, just a great an old English actor. I mean, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but just a great Jim Gordon, and dude, every Batman needs a Gordon, and Lieutenant Gordon in this show is just great. And I love it, guys, man. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And if you get a chance, man, please watch Batman '66. I know it ain't like the Batmans nowadays where it's dark and it's very the Adam West's Batman, they call it the Bright Knight, and you'll see why if you watch the show. So listen, man, hope everybody has a blessed day today. Remember, man, God first and family. Until the next episode, take care, man.